I'm not for sure if you're like me, but if you ever found yourself saying these phrases, how do I get the children to, or I want a learner that won't, or the children just don't understand that. If you're like me and you're looking for ways to help your learners make better choices and do something that would be the Montessori way, but aren't quite for sure what that means.
To be honest, I think it's more important for us as Montessori practitioners to realize how complex the process it is than to actually understand the details of the neurological, societal, cognitive, and psychological processes. Because it's like really that big. Their choices, as we think of them, are actually far more impulsive than they are purposeful. And this is very much in line with what Dr. Montessori said. In The Absorbent Mind, she says that choice is one of the highest of all mental processes.
So I'm over here actually taking notes as you are presenting, and I think that's great. I'm writing, choice is a response to our environment.
We want to make sure that the child develops the sense of order, right? If Tommy's order is taking that pouring work over to a table and sitting and pouring back and forth or into multiple containers for 10 minutes, we're going to let him do that because he's made that choice. That's his sense of order. You know, there are many times I've seen kids take that pitcher and kind of pour it onto the tray just to see what happens, right? There's that impulse again, but then they beautifully go about and they clean it up because that's what they've done. That's their sense of order. Their sense of order will not always mesh up to ours, right? As the adult in the space, we have to make sure that we are maintaining some level of order because we have to make sure that chairs are pushed in and we have to make sure that work is put away. But you know, the biggest thing for our children is their concentration skills. And the more they can make their own choices, the deeper their concentration skills will become.
That is great. Like I made a lot of connections for the elementary child. Sometimes our 6 to 9-year-olds can be really caught in a good bad binary, what is right or what is wrong. And so choices will come out of that they really want to make the right choice. And sometimes that can give them some kind of anxiety about making a choice in our environment. The 6 to 9-year-old is way more exploratory and expanding, and the 9 to 12-year-old is much more stable. But both age groups are extremely social. So they're making a lot of choices based off of peers. Who am I going to work with and how long do I get to work with them? Where do I get to work with them? That's a best case scenario in our classroom, is that they make choices and they stick with the choices no matter what the consequences or positive effects that may come out of it.
Well, the adolescence is, they're coming out of that binary that you were just talking about, and they're going right back to a lot of what Beth was talking about, the impulse and the distraction. I think the best case scenario in that age group is when they can get to the point of being able to make those kinds of group decisions, negotiations, and then actually make a solid decision and a plan that goes with it without the adult intervening.
And still making connections back to elementary and now 3 to 6. Okay, so we have shared a little bit about the development of the child. We've also shared a little bit about what does the best case scenario look like. If you went to Montessori training, then you know that your training, at least my training, was full of best case scenarios. But we actually want to get into practical of what happens when something is happening in our environment with a learner that to us does not seem like the best case scenario, or it may seem like a child is making a poor choice. What are we going to do?